let's celebrate female astronauts, because a lot of men astronauts, they have to go to school.
Right.
They have to learn how to be a pilot first. Then they have to join the Air Force or the Navy, and then they get appointed by NASA.
What were her findings? That's my question.
Well,
what did she learn?
Daisy, which is super important.
She is now regretting her Blue Origin spaceflight as she struggled with the continued criticism.
Katy Perry is in a complete meltdown after Joe Rogan absolutely obliterated her overpriced, overhyped 11-minute space cosplay. Sorry, space trip. Turns out the whole thing was just a glorified PR stunt wrapped in feminist hashtags and Bezos' budget rocket fuel.
We're very wealthy. Don't we look great? Admire us.
And now with her credibility nosediving faster than that capsule re-entry, Katy might want to launch a comeback. From Earth this time.
I'm going to tell you something right now. You are officially an astronaut.
What the fuck are you talking about?
And hey, you're not allowed to laugh at the astronaut thing, no matter how brutally it trampled over actual years of training and degrees. This is serious business, all right?
Stuck on a space station for a few months. That's terribly more impressive.
Let's not minimize this.
Boinking a billionaire and getting a free ticket to space for 11 minutes. It was flat, but quiet.
The moon! You guys, I will have to tell you, look at the moon!
But this was really not women in space. It was stupid people in space.
Now let me tell you, the problem isn't just that they flaunted their money by floating in Bezos' Skycan.
So it was cool. They took a very, very expensive, very, very cool roller coaster ride that technically put them into space.
I don't know. I got chills. I got tears in my eyes when I first heard the enormous burst of sound.
Something's off with her.
No, it's good.
Calling this a crew or implying that this is some revolutionary, big glass ceiling breaking win for women is basically complete bullshit.
Honestly, if it had stopped there, we could have rolled our eyes, nodded politely, and moved on. A glittery, oxygen-pumped, ultra-sponsored moment for womankind. Katy Perry, Gayle King, and Lauren Sanchez, taking a joyride in Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin capsule, crowned the all-female astronaut crew like they just solved dark matter on the way up.
The only person empowered was Jeff Bezos. Boyfriend of the year, to be fair.
But no, they didn't stop at flexing the ride. They sold it as a historical achievement, a scientific milestone, empowerment in a jumpsuit.
Sad about women because it means that even with $1 billion, they still need a boost.
It's so much money to go to space.
Yeah.
You know,
yes.
And there's a lot of people who can't even afford eggs.
Katie!
Woo! I feel super connected to love. So connected to love.
Except here's the kicker. Nobody did anything. The capsule was fully automated. No controls, no steering, no need to press so much as a volume button. They sat back, smized for the camera, floated around like they were at a zero-gravity spa, and treated it like the pinnacle of female achievement. You'd think they cracked space-time, but no. They just wore matching outfits and let physics do the work. And somehow that got shoved down our throats as a revolutionary step for women in science.
Let's not minimize this. Let's celebrate female astronauts.
That's the other thing. There has been female astronauts.
Let's not minimize.
Taking up space!
Their message for women was take up space. You guys are taking up too much space.
Katy even brought a daisy on board and claimed it represented resilience. Ma'am, it's a flower. A flower that became an overnight meme because the only thing resilient about that mission was her PR team's commitment to making 11 minutes feel like 11 lifetimes of relevance.
Olivia Wilde reposted an image of Katy Perry kissing the ground. She was acting like she got back from Apollo 13.
It's so much money to go to space.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who can't even afford eggs. What are they going to do up there that has made it better for us down here?
One tweet nailed it. The only thing orbiting the Earth was Katy's ego. And just like that, the internet flipped the script. It wasn't empowerment anymore. It was influencer cosplay in a vacuum-sealed capsule. Then came the FAA. God bless the buzzkill we didn't know we needed. The Federal Aviation Administration dropped the coldest one-liner of the year. None of the passengers performed any safety-critical tasks.
Jeff Bezos out there right by the capsule.
You don't find that suspicious? The best part was when we got back in our seats after 0 G's, Katy sang "What a Wonderful World."
She did?
Isn't that nice?
Oh, come on.
She sang "What a Wonderful."
Shut up, bitch!
This wasn't some nitpicky, bureaucratic loophole. This was the official end of the charade. The girl boss in space fantasy collapsed harder than Katy's last tour set list. The hashtags died. The empowerment speeches aged like unrefrigerated almond milk. Because when you don't drive the ship, run the mission, or do anything beyond light posing, you're not making history. You're just in it, as a passenger, period.
I'm much better now that the ladies are back from space.
What were they up there, 10 minutes?
It's so cringy. Look at us, we're very wealthy. Don't we look great? Admire us.
Well, yeah, and I also think it's fun to see somebody who has no self-awareness.
Yeah.
They're always the most fun.
And here's where it gets even better. Joe Rogan stepped in, and he didn't yell. He didn't drag. He surgically annihilated the entire fantasy with one calm, surgical question. What were her findings? Not what she felt, not what she posted. What did she actually learn? The answer was silence, because there were no findings. Just vague cosmic babble about love and healing, delivered mid-float while clutching that tragic little daisy like it was sacred space debris.
She essentially took a roller coaster ride.
Well, it was very profound. I don't know if you've seen Katy Perry talk about it, but she's basically a guru.
Joe wasn't angry. He just looked exhausted, like a man who's watched one too many influencers claim enlightenment after a weekend ayahuasca trip. And what he saw wasn't a woman reborn by the stars. It was a glorified commercial dressed up in TED Talk packaging. He called it what it was, a luxury roller coaster for the ultra-rich, dipped in feminism-flavored marketing syrup.
Think space travel is just for brainy scientists and super brave astronauts?
And now, the rumor mill is spinning. Word on the LA curb is there's leaked footage. Yes, leaked footage. That never saw the light of day. Allegedly, Katy had a total breakdown mid-flight, full panic mode, crying, shouting, begging to get down. Basically, the oxygen ran out of the PR bubble for a hot second, and someone hit the emergency cut.
Tolerance for things that you can call feminist is very high. Like, I really don't care when it's bubblegum feminism and you put it on a t-shirt, but this, I'm exhausted. I can't take it. And
why are you exhausted, Rebecca?
Blue Origin's media team allegedly scrubbed the meltdown clean, slapped NDAs across the board, and poof, it never happened. Except people think Rogan saw it, or at least heard about it, which would explain why he roasted it with such laser-guided confidence.
Please don't call it a ride. That is not a friggin' ride. Whenever a man goes up, no one called that a ride. It was called a flight. It was called a journey, because a ride implies that it's something frivolous.
I thought it was condescending. It was belittling to women.
Lots of other people in the media were embarrassing themselves during this ordeal. Oprah Winfrey actually wept as she watched the all-female team launch into space.
Meanwhile, the internet was busy doing what it does best, freezing every frame, exposing every forced metaphor, and dragging every designer space boot. Because here's the truth. Just floating doesn't make it deep. Bringing a flower doesn't make it meaningful. And calling yourself an astronaut while doing absolutely nothing, that's not feminism, that's fantasy, wrapped in a capsule.
So many people reach out to me and say, because you did it, it makes me think I can do it too.
You know, it's so funny. She said she's heard from women and girls who have said to her, I didn't realize this is something I could do. You know how I know that didn't happen, Megan? Because it's not something they could do, because they're not friends with Jeff Bezos.
There's panic, and then there's what insiders are now calling the altitude breakdown. According to rumors circulating from two different ex-Blue Origin contractors, Katy Perry didn't just float quietly for 11 minutes. She allegedly freaked out mid-flight, sobbing, gasping for breath, shouting, "Bring me down," like she had just woken up mid-nightmare in zero gravity. The vibe inside that capsule? Less female empowerment, more psychological emergency.
In honor of Wendy's responding to Katy Perry demanding that they apologize, and her seemingly regretting her Blue Origin spaceflight.
A former technician claims that footage exists, or did, before it was scrubbed and locked down under airtight NDAs. According to that same source, the raw audio feed from inside the capsule had to be muted in real time because it didn't fit the pre-approved Divine Awakening narrative. This wasn't some conspiracy Reddit thread either. The leak allegedly came from someone who had worked directly with the capsule's internal camera systems.
She is now regretting her Blue Origin spaceflight as she struggled with the continued criticism.
The version of the flight the public got? A polished spiritual sermon? Daisy props? Sound bites about love? Still shots of Katy floating like she had just unlocked the secrets of the cosmos. But now that we know what's possibly sitting in an encrypted archive somewhere in Blue Origin's system, that serenity feels digitally manufactured. Every frame looked staged. Every quote was PR groomed. The capsule cam wasn't showing history. It was showing content, curated to within an inch of believability.
She's now making a whole People article, I assume this is her reps, demanding that Wendy's apologize. You can't make this up. This was a billion-dollar brand using its platform to publicly demean a woman. Oh my God, now it's all about sex. Ridiculous.
One source even hinted that the moment Katy dropped to her knees on the Texas landing pad was originally unscripted. A raw reaction from being overwhelmed and terrified. But after they saw how dramatic it looked, the PR team ran with it, turned it into a spiritual rebirth, and edited in the music accordingly. There's a difference between a documentary and a deodorant ad. This was the latter, just in space.
You are not an astronaut. You were not pushing buttons and doing the science and the math. You sat there and took a ride. No one is taking anything away from the actual astronauts.
Two of the astronauts, I still have a hard time calling myself an astronaut, but two.
Because you're not an astronaut.
And then my question is, have you all been to space? Have you been to space? Go to space or go to Blue Origin and see what they do and how they do. And
I'm sorry, we're too poor to go to space. Frankly, I'm too poor to fly to St. Louis.
But whatever was sanitized, the internet didn't wait for confirmation. The backlash didn't need facts. It had memes. When Wendy's official Twitter account posted, "Can we send her back?" that wasn't a punchline. That was a cultural obituary. 4 words that managed to eclipse the entire $20 million flight and reduce Katy's soft rebrand into a 2-second roast.
I hope they can see the unity that we modeled and replicate that and understand that we weren't just taking up space, we were making space for the future. And for me, like Gail said, this wasn't a ride, it wasn't a destination, it was a journey, and it was a supernatural one.
The memes hit immediately and didn't let up. Perry's teary-eyed, "I'm forever changed" moment got slapped onto war footage, Mars landing reenactments, even screenshots from Interstellar. People photoshopped her kneeling in a field of actual astronauts, as if she'd just come back from surviving deep space. One TikTok even paired the clip with audio from the Hunger Games, making her look like she just escaped the Capitol.
You'll never know the amount of love that you have inside of you to give and to receive until the day you launch, because you're leaving all the love behind and you're surrendering and you're hoping that you get another chance to love them again. And so when you come back down, you're like, oh, I get another chance and I'm gonna do it.
But that was only the start. The titles rolled in like a meme tsunami. Zero-G influencer, space tourists in Gucci, and the one that sealed the coffin. The only thing orbiting Earth was their egos. No press team could recover from that. The empowerment message wasn't just lost, it was incinerated.
Young ladies in NASA, it's all about love. That's what it's all about. I kissed the ground.
Some Reddit threads even ranked it as the fastest transition from inspirational to insufferable in internet history. Users turned her daisy symbol into a recurring gag, posting it onto scenes of sci-fi meltdowns, intergalactic wars, and old-school NASA footage. The more Katy's team tried to double down on how profound the mission was, the funnier it got.
When she went in space, she used it as a PR stunt to reveal her set list. Yeah, Yeah, she did. She said this before. I'm launching a tour in Mexico and I'll be on tour the rest of the... I think it'd be pretty cool to launch the set list for that tour in space. Oh, that'd be so cool. And she did it. The thing is, no one can read it.
And then Martha Stewart entered the chat. No hashtags, no monologues, just a casual throwback post from 2007 where she floated effortlessly in zero gravity, smiled, and said absolutely nothing. That was it. No I'm forever changed, no daisy, no brand slogan, and still, the internet lost it. One tweet summed it up perfectly. Martha did it better 17 years ago and didn't call herself an astronaut.
They talked about getting glammed up for their time in the flight. This is the first time anybody went to space with their hair and makeup done. Lauren Sanchez, who would not get glam before the flight? Every other astronaut.
What Katy built with choreographed drama, Martha dismantled with a 1-minute clip and a 17-year-old receipt. Users reposted her video with captions like, "Glamour isn't innovation, and this is how icons move, not like a space influencer on Xanax." While Katy floated in designer boots, Martha floated in silence. While Katy kissed Texas dirt, Martha just walked off and went back to her garden. And while Katy tried to redefine space travel as a personal evolution, Martha quietly became the final boss of space credibility, without ever claiming the title. In that moment, the contrast couldn't have been sharper. One woman tried to orbit legacy through scripted enlightenment, the other already had it, without floating a single metaphor. So, what do you think? Space legacy or PR fantasy? Drop your verdict in the comments and let's see who roasts it best.